Hey guys, what's going on? So I wanted to make a specifically co-op tier list, and I wanted to show a couple of co-op games. One with like if you have every card, and one with like if you literally only have like base cards, right? So I'll start at the bottom. Actually, I'll start further than the bottom. These are all the cards that I left out of the tier list. Specifically because they're not support cards. So when you build a co-op deck, what I see a lot in co-op, and it's really the reason why I wanted to make this video to begin with, I see a lot of people doing hybrid co-op decks, where they put like a couple of like their best attackers. They'll put in like a level 7 like a cultist. They'll put in like a Crystal Mancer, and then they'll have support cards. Or they'll have like a Boreas, which sounds really good. And then like some support cards like Cold Mage and Frost and, like Stasis, right? The idea of doing dungeons and doing support, you have to be one or the other, I find. I find that you have to be either like a full support deck or a good attacking deck, because when you try to do a little bit of both, and spoiler alert, in my free to play co-op support deck, I do a little bit of both, but I'll explain that when we get there. But I find that if you have like Shaman, if you have the top tier versions of these cards, like if you have Shaman, if you have Clock, if you have Witch, if you have all of them, if you have a Demonologist, right? If you have all the spam cards, you want to use the spam cards and center your deck around those spam cards. So you want to use like the Mime, you want to use maybe like one slowdown thing, but for the most part, you don't want to mix that with other random damage dealing units, because you will never really grow any of those units to the heights that they should be to be effective at all. And that's to say, like if you run a Boreas, right, it might be good in the beginning, but towards the end, it's not even going to do anything, and you're going to need your opponent or your co-op partner to be the DPS. At which point, if they can DPS properly, they won't need your weakening of the units is not going to help them kill the units. They either can or they can't, right? If they have level 15 White Dancer, if they have level 15 Teslas, if they have level, like 12 Demon Hunters, if they have like full Corsair strategy, right? They will have been able to have killed all of those units anyway without you doing literally any damage. So your damage isn't really doing anything for them. So when you make a support deck, you kind of want to stick with just support cards. But you don't want to slow the game down so that the game takes 50 minutes. And that's another reason why I wanted to make this. So obviously at the top end of your support, it's going to be Shaman. Shaman is the king of support. It will always be the king of support. It does support way more than it does PvP, even though a lot of people hate it in PvP. It is the king of support, and it is not the king of PvP. It's very good in PvP, obviously. You can definitely win, like matches because of it. But it will, if there was an S plus tier in support, Shaman is the thing that you're going for. If you have Shaman, you obviously want to run Mime because it's free. You will already have Mime, and then if you have Harley Quinn, you want to use Harley Quinn on Shamans, and then you want to use Mime on Shamans, or Mime on Harley Quinn to Shamans, and it to maximize the amount that you can level up your co-op person. That's DPSing, right? I want to say that Clock might be a close second. Clock isn't as good, but I think it's a close second. Clock does a lot more than it looks like it does. It's not as flashy as Shaman, but the thing that it does is, especially during boss rounds, when your opponent is not running trainer, and even if they're running trainer, then it's an even bigger bonus, right? When you merge out clocks, and you get that like 25% bonus, it's something insane. What is it? So just having them on the field at max level, I have a level 9, you're getting a 5% bonus. That's just having it at level, like, at merge rank 1. And then that just keeps exponentially increasing, right? When you merge out any clock at any level, so obviously if you have level 1s, merge those instead, you're getting 25%. You're giving your opponent 25% bonus attack speed, and that's absolute insanity. Because when you have to kill bosses, or when the mobs become too big, the clock acts as a trainer for all of their units. And then if they have trainer, when they use trainer, and then it's combined with the amount of clocks that you have on your board, you're giving them so much attack speed, and that could mean the difference between getting Bedlam to not getting Bedlam, getting Tribunal to not getting Tribunal. I think clock is a lot when you have clocks on the board, because if you have them on the board, that's when you're getting that secondary attack speed per increase. So if you have one clock on the board that's a level 9 clock, if you have it at merge rank 1, it'll give you a 3.5% boost. If you have that at max level, if you have one clock on the board that's just sitting there at max level at a rank 1, you're giving your opponent or your co-op partner a 5% boost. If you have a level 2, if you have a level 3, if you have a level 4, and then this increases obviously if you have more clocks. That percentage increases, so you want as many clocks as you can on the board after you finish shamaning. After you feel like you've sufficiently shamaned them enough times to where their board is pretty much like the best that it can be, you want to leave all of your clocks on the board. And when you merge out clocks, you want to merge out the level 1s, because you're always getting the flat rate of 25%. If you merge out larger clocks, you're not getting a bigger bonus. You're still only getting the 25%, but you're losing the bonus of the 2 clocks that are better on the field. Anyway, Harley Quinn is probably next for obvious reasons. You can everything that you want in a co-op deck: shaman, clock, mimes, shaman, clock, witches, demonologists. All of those you're going to want to copy. You're going to want as many of those as you can. Harley Quinn does that, and it does it in the best way. And if Witch isn't on this tier list, but if it was, I would put it right below Harley Quinn. I think it's good because it gives you the extra. It gives your co-op partner the damage, but once you hit a unit, for the most part, they're never going to move that unit. So you only need to hit each unit once, and it's random. And for the most part, I don't think it does the amount of change that it can. I have a level 7 witch, and so obviously if you get the level 9 power up, where you can upgrade, where when it hits something it upgrades, that becomes huge, because then that acts as a shaman. Then that acts as a second shaman. I think I would probably rank it a little bit higher, maybe above a Harlequin. Once you start using talents on it, it would probably start getting better. But just for the most part, since I have a level 7 witch, I would probably put it under Harlequin, but still in that S tier. And then obviously if you have it like maxed out talents, it would probably go up, maybe even surpassing Clock. But I think Clock by itself, without upgrades, without it having to be like max talents or whatever, with it not having any talents at all, and if you just obtain Clock, it does what it will always do, and it does it really well. I think Reaper is probably in the next tier down. It's not as important as everything else, but with talents, especially Grim Harvest, especially the Maximum gain talent. These are the talents that you want to use on it when you do get them. Maximum gain is obviously huge because it becomes a mana producer for you. It also has infinite damage because it always insta-kills, and it's just the percent chance that changes. And as you rank it up, it obviously hits faster, so then that percent has a better chance of happening. And then when you add talents to it, when you finally get to 9 is the big one, 11 is the really big one, and then 15 is it won't even affect co-op. And even if you're running this in PvP, I would stay away from Slayer of Giants and Trophy Skull. I've tried using Reaper as a DPS unit. It doesn't work. Spirit of Light, Spirit of Dark, this is determined based on the meta for PvP, but it has no effect in co-op. But Maximum Gain, it probably makes Reaper one of the best co-op units to gain mana. I think there's an argument for Demonologist, especially Demonologist with talents, but I think Reaper being able to just simply sit there and decrease the amount that the other person has to kill, the amount of units, I think it's really, really big. And then Grim Harvest, obviously, it does the 25% chance to hit a radius of people, which makes that even better. But even if you have it at just maximum gain and you just use it as a mana producer and a way to kill things pretty much infinitely, I think it's just as good as well. Mime, I don't really need to talk about that. It gives you double everything that you want, and so it's very strong. Demonologist with talents is very strong. I have mine at a 9. So I typically use the multiplication of evil whenever you get the dark orbs. Obviously, magical current is really good because you get the 30% more mana. But I think even in co-op, you don't need the more mana. And so I'd probably use Sinister Technique, giving a dark orb to another thing, or maybe, you know what? I don't know. Because you'd already be using multiplication of evil, and maybe the 30% mana just generically overall is probably better. I think if you were running PvP, you obviously run Archdemon and then probably Sinister Technique, so that when something appears with a dark orb, it'll give something else a dark orb. I haven't even gone into Magical Deal Demonic Horde, mostly because that is so far beyond me. But I have to assume that it probably gets better with those, and then obviously with 15. But even without it, even as is, I would put it somewhere around here. I think it's a good mana producer if your opponent is going to Scrapper, obviously because you're giving them more mana. But if they're solely relying on you to Shaman, I think Reaper might be better because it has the ability to just sit there and gain you mana. I don't know. I think maybe it's debatable. I think you know what? We're just gonna bump that up now. I think they're both good as mana producers. I think they're the only mana producers that you should really ever use. I think I don't even have Cauldron in here. I think I left it out. Don't use Cauldron. It doesn't help you. Leveling up your things doesn't help. Slowing things down on the field, there are better ways to slow things down. Just don't use Cauldron. If you want to mana produce, either use Reaper or use Demonologist. There's no real other substitute. And because Reaper is a free option, it's a non-legendary free option, I would just straight up use Reaper. Just focus on getting Reaper. It's one of those things like a Bombardier, like a Chemist, for PvP, and for co-op DPS. Just invest in whenever you see it in the shop. Just buy it. I put Summoner at a B. I don't think it's bad, but I do think that its role is trying to get you more things at a faster rate. So essentially, it's attempting to save you mana. And in theory, it's good. But in practice, I don't think it's good. And the reason why I don't think it's good is because, for the most part, when you're running support, you're running Harlequin, you're running Mime, you're running Shaman, and then you'd probably be running Summoner. What will start happening is you'll start getting really high levels of things really fast. And you don't want high levels of things. You don't want a level 5 Shaman on your board and a level 6 Summoner on your board and a level 7 Harlequin. You want to merge things out as minimalistically as you can. And I think the thing that Summoner does is it keeps filling up your board quicker than you need it to. I don't think it's bad, and if you have it and you don't have other things, you can use it. But whenever I run it, I tend to run into the problem that I start running out of space. And the worst position that you can be in as a support deck is running out of things to do. And I think Summoner makes you run out of things to do way too quickly. Again, I don't think it's bad. It's in B. I understand the reason for using it. I just don't necessarily use it myself. So this next category is just slow units, and I'll start at the bottom here. Never use Portal Mage. Portal Mage, the best thing that it wants to do is that it wants to move a boss, right? Because when there's waves, there's too many monsters. You're not going to keep, resetting waves to the front, or to the back, as it were. So at best, right, if a boss is going to kill you, it can reset the boss, allowing the other person more time, right? And so you're running it in a support deck. And what ends up happening is if you run against an assassin or a warlock, if you keep resetting the boss to the front, or to the back, what will happen is it's just going to decimate your field. It's just going to blow up everything that you have on your field. Not to mention, when it gets down to the last, unit, and it keeps resetting that unit so that the other person can't kill it, you're just extending the game. Which goes into my next topic of do not extend the game. For the most part, if you're going to run a slowing unit, I would run a Cold Mage. I think Cold Mage does a lot of things, especially with talents, and especially because it's a common card. So with the talents, you're definitely going to use Fierce Cold. The every 15 seconds you freeze, or every 15 attacks, is not consistent. Being able to just slow the thing down 5% more as it's slowing things down is just infinitely better. Heat Leak, you're never going to use because it doesn't work in co-op. So what you would use is Flash of Frost. But even with Flash of Frost, for the most part, these are merging things. You don't necessarily merge Cold Mages enough for either of these to matter. There's an idea that Blizzard might be good, but I think Cracking Ice is much better. Again, because you're running a DP, you're running a co-op deck, and you want your co-op partner to deal most of the damage. When they get to less than 30% and they start taking 20% more damage, that's going to help with bosses. It's going to help with just regular units. And then if you do get the max talent and they just straight up die when they're at 5%, that's huge. It basically it'll start acting like a Reaper. It's not a Reaper, but it'll start acting as a Reaper. And so not only are you slowing things down, but you're making it easier when your units get to the center for the other person to kill them. You're not trying to kill them, but you're making it easier for them to kill them. So for that reason, I think Cold Mage is the best. And if you are going to invest in something for co-op support, in the case that you're not running, you're not getting the legendaries that you want, you're not getting the Shaman, you're not getting the Harlequin, you're not getting the Clock, you're not getting the Witch, right? In those cases, I would heavily invest in Cold Mage. Um, for slow, I would only run one slow, and this is the order that I would pick them in. Frost, I think, is really strong because it affects the entire board. Stasis, I put really far down here because it doesn't affect flying units. They created flying units in co-op to avoid things like Trapper and Stasis, and to a lesser extent Corsair. It not being able to affect flying units isn't the biggest thing in the world, but you'll start to see early game when you can't deal with like new units or the mob of units, that there will be more flying units in the beginning, and you need to slow those down. Where Stasis and Trapper and Corsair are not going to help you. So I put them rather far down, further down. Catapult is just a bad bombardier. It attacks way too slow. It doesn't do as much damage. The damage is just going to fall off. So you're not going to notice the damage that it's doing. And it also doesn't attack fast enough for it to be effective. I have Bombardier and Chemist in here too, because I think Chemist is okay, but I don't think... So if you're going to run Chemist, right, most of that is not going to matter until it gets to the center. And then your opponent will have an easier chance of defeating the thing. Okay, sorry about that. Rather than going into a coughing fit, I realized, like I did in my first video, I realized that my screen record feature has a pause button. So I was like, I'm just going to pause the video, take a drink of water, come back, I'll be fine. Here we go. So I think Chemist does do something, but I don't think that it does it efficiently enough, because you have to wait for the thing to get to the center, and you also have to merge out every Chemist other than one. And in a support deck, you're basically spamming cards. And sometimes it's very hard, because you'll start to get that awkward scenario where you have a level 1 Chemist, a level 2 Chemist, a level 3 Chemist, a level 4 Chemist. And if you don't understand how Chemist works, whatever hits the monster first, that is the amount of decreased damage that it does. Or the amount of armor destruction. So I have a max Chemist. If my level 1 hits a thing, right, it's doing... Oh, here we go. Okay, so if my level 1, rank 1 hits a thing, right, it's doing 9% armor destruction. I'm just going to make these numbers easy. I'm not going to do the mana power level up, right? It's going to do 9% armor destruction. So that thing is now taking 9% more damage, right? If my level 2 hits it, it's taking 18% more damage. My level 3 hits it. If my level 4 hits it. If my level 5 hits it, right? If my level 6 hits it. When you have a 1, 2, 3, 4 on the field, whatever hits the thing, that is the percent that it will take, and it will not cancel out because another one hits the same thing. If it worked like that, having a 1, 2, 3, 4 wouldn't be bad, but because it doesn't, you're just actively making your Chemists worse by having multiple levels of them on the field at the same time. Also, you're wasting space. You shouldn't have them out on the field anyway, but the way that support decks work, it's very hard to get rid of things. Like I said in my Summoner diatribe, like, when you run Summoner, you start to run into that problem. You'll have a level 1 Summoner and a level 2 Summoner and a level 3 Summoner, and then a level 1 Shaman, a level 2 Shaman, a level 3 Shaman. Your board will just get stuck. As opposed to when you have Harlequin and Mime, and you can control it a little bit better. When you run Chemist, you have to get rid of all of your Chemists. And because of that, I don't necessarily think that it's the best option. You want things that get better if you have a lot of them out there, which is another reason why clock is so good. If you have multiple different levels of clock, right? If you have a level 5 clock and a level 6 clock and a level 4 clock, that's good. If you have 2 level 1 clocks and, a 3 clock and a 4 clock and a 4 clock and a 5 clock, that's great. It's great to see that. Because that's what you want to see. And it increases the opponent's attack speed. It makes them killing everything quicker. But when you have multiple chemists, it just makes the chemist worse. I put Trapper in here. I think it's the slowing down effect is good, and then it also does armor destruction, which I think is also good. It's better than I think people give it credit for. It's still not great, but the fact that it slows and does armor destruction is pretty good. The fact that it's random and the fact that it doesn't do air units is what makes it terrible. And it's why most people don't use it. And if you have Frost, if you have something above... So the way that this tier list essentially works is if you have something... This is the order that I would put all of your support cards in, right? And once you start getting to like the C area, the D area, I would only run one slow unit. If you start running in co-op decks that are like Cold Mage, Frost, Stasis, like Thunderer, Catapult, right? So that, it makes it easier, quote unquote, easier for your opponent to like take out all of their stuff, then take out all of your stuff. You're going to be sitting there for like an hour. And there's nothing more infuriating than having to sit and just wait. Like, if your opponent, the person that's supposed to be helping you, the person that's theoretically DPSing, is just going to get so bored and they might even quit just from seeing your setup. I would not recommend anything more than one freezing unit. And again, if you are going to run a freezing unit, I would run Cold Mage. And if you don't want to run Cold Mage, you can run Frost. And if you don't want to run Frost, you can run Trapper. And if you don't want to run Trapper, you can run Bombardier. In this order. But please do it in this order. But for the most part, like the more legendaries that you have, like let's say, like this is your deck, right? But then you get a shaman. Put a shaman in this deck and then replace something, right? And then if you get a Harley Quinn, if you have a Reaper, which everybody does, put that in the deck. Mime doesn't work in every scenario. So if you don't have a spam card, if you don't have a shaman or a clock or a demonologist, there's no point in putting Mime. So don't put Mime. But if you have the spam cards, if you have a summoner, use those cards first, right? So that's essentially my tier list. I didn't really talk about Thunderer. I don't think there's a lot to talk about. It's another slowing unit. Don't use it for its damage. I think it's a good spam card. It's probably a better spam card than Chemist, because it does slow. And as it gets better, like if you have a 5 and a 4 and a 3, it's better than having a 5, 4, 3 Chemist. And if you have like, a level 5 or a level 5 Thunder, you're stunning 5 things, right? That's how it works. I still don't think it's good. Bombardier is probably still better. And just main slow things are definitely still better because you don't have to upgrade them for them to do their job. So I'm going to jump into a couple games, and I'm first going to jump into a game. I created this deck. It's purely cards that you start with. And I'm going to show you the reason why I think this is an okay support deck. I feel like people always want they want ideas for how to make a support deck. And if you literally do not have any legendary, which is insane to me, right? There's no way that you don't have like a Harlequin or a Shaman or a Witch. Like if you've been playing the game even for a little bit, you will probably have something. You will probably, like you need a spam card, you need a clock, you need a witch, you need a shaman. But if you don't, right, you need a demonologist. But if you don't have any of those spam legendaries, right, and you just have base cards, and you want to play co-op, I think this deck is okay. I don't think it's great. I don't think it's competitive. I think it's okay. So essentially what this is going to be is Zealot. It's okay because all of these cards are common and uncommon, and they're cards that you will obtain over time and that you can upgrade to make them better. So these are basically the best versions of what they're going to be in co-op. I have I have my Zealot with max talents. I'm using. None of these really matter unless I'm able to get them into an X, but that's not my main focus. So almost none of these talents are going to matter. If I can get them to an X, fanaticism is going to go off. You're going to get the one in the center doing crazy stuff. But for the most part, none of these really matter because I'm not even running Cauldron. I'm running a Chemist. For the reason why I told you before, but you're probably going to see in game that there's going to be a Chemist that I'm not going to be able to merge out, and I'm just going to be mad about it. Reaper, like I said, is just really good. With maximum gain, not only am I providing mana for myself for the Zealot, but I'm also helping the co-op person by killing things. The Chemist is going to help my Zealot be better because of the damage debuff, but even if it doesn't, it's going to also help my co-op support person. And Executioner is just another percentage thing to finish things off. And the Cold Mage, like I said before, when it has less than 30, it's going to take 20% more, and then when they have less than 5, it's going to die. And then the Executioner obviously finishes things off as well, and then the Reaper does infinite damage as well. The thing about co-op is eventually the damage is going to outscale all of your damage units if you're just running like a singular Boreas and support units. If you're running just a Cultist, right? If you're just running a damage card, if you're not doing a dedicated, if you're not doing a dedicated co-op, like damage thing, your damage isn't going to scale. The Zealot, if you have more mana as the game progresses, through Reaper and through just, when you stop doing things, right? Because there will probably be a point where I want to stop summoning in. And I'm just going to let the thing just sit. My hero, by the way, is a level 20, and this is my equipment. Hunter's Jacket, I've grown to really like. Increasing my opponent's attack, or increasing my co-op partner's attack speed, and decreasing my PvP person's attack speed seems really good. And then the other one that I started using is the Amulet, because it increases the attack speed of a square for my hopefully DPS person. I'm using Mage Staff because of you get the extra mana, and obviously because of Zealot, I think it'll be good. I don't think this deck is perfect, but again, if you're trying to make a co-op deck that's literally just based on cards that you can obtain and you don't have any of the cool legendaries, I think this deck is okay. But even saying that, here we go. I'm not going to use a map because I have no confidence in this. I'm just going to play with a casual and hope that they have an actual support. They have an actual damage deck. Okay, so this is a perfect example. He's running a Blade Dancer. Oh, here's another thing. They just straight up disconnected. There was no reason for them to disconnect. Okay. That's real awkward. I find that people disconnect if the other person isn't running Shaman. So this is really awkward. We're just going to lose, obviously. There's nothing I can do. Yeah, that was just going to happen. This is why I'm not going to use maps. I think that we could have won that. I don't think there was any reason for him to do that. I think they were just like, well, he's not playing shaman. I'm just gonna quit. And this person is playing shaman, and I'm not running a what's it called deck. This is not supposed to be a DPS deck. I mean, it can be a DPS deck. Are we gonna try that? Is that what we're gonna do here? I don't think we're gonna win. I think the Cold Mage does enough slow that this might work, but I have no confidence in it. If you are... Okay, so obviously he's playing the role of support, ironically. So I'm going to send the shaman to him, and I'm going to attempt to build a board. He sent it back to me. Why? Oh, okay. At least he gave me the oops. I was like, why would you send it back to me? We're just going to die. It's fine. So I have the one chemist over here. It's not the worst. I'm going to keep merging these out because I'm trying to make my X right here because I already have I have 1, 2, 3. I'm going to merge this up. I'm going to merge this left. You kind of want to, I don't even know if it matters, but you want to summon into the spots that you want your zealots to be in if you're not going to run Portal Keeper. So you want to merge out so that you can, I need to find a spot here. I just need the space, so I need to merge these out because I'm trying to find a level 1 chemist here. This is very awkward that I'm now the DPS person. I should not be the DPS person. Obviously. This is an entire support video. I'm going to merge these out. If that becomes a 1, I don't have good merges anymore. See, I have a 1, 2, 3. It's the worst part about this deck. Oh, wow. I killed it. I need to obviously merge something out. So I'm going to merge these out. That's ironic. Why? Why do you keep doing it? That's perfect. Ooh, that's real good. I'm going to merge out the chemists because I only want the one chemist. I obviously have the setup here. I just want the one chemist. The problem with Zealot is that it doesn't attack fast enough at low levels. It's very difficult to... You know what's ironic is I tried to make a Zealot deck work, I don't know, ages ago. I feel very free to merge things out. Ooh, if I get a Zealot right there. Oh no. Oh no. Oh. Oh no. Ages ago, I tried to make a Zealot deck work. And I could not make it work for the life of me. And right now, a Zealot deck might work. I'm mad that I don't have a chemist. I was trying to get greedy here. And I was trying to get like... Really? I just want a chemist, man. Oh, why was I merging that one out? That could have been bad. I have to get this. I have to use this one. I just want one chemist. Oh, I can merge this one out. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I just want a chemist. I can't get a chemist. This is insane. Trainer is very underrated. These are the moments where Trainer's like real good. If you are running support, run train. Oh god. Oh god. Yeah, it's not good. It's not good, man. I can't. I don't know why, but Zealot is not good. I'm gonna try this again. Oh, there we go. Because I want at least one battle where I'm showing that the other person can DPS, and okay, here we go. If this person doesn't quit, if this person doesn't auto quit, okay, cool, perfect. This is what I want to see. All right. So I'm basically, I created this deck not to DPS specifically, but to help the other person kill things quicker. This deck is not supposed to be the DPS version of this whole thing. Like, what I'm trying to do here is get really high level, like one really high level chemist and a bunch of reapers, essentially. You always want to merge out your chemists, and you always want to merge out your cold mages. You only want one of each. Executioners, you can have a bunch of. Zealots, you can obviously have a bunch of. Reapers, you obviously want a bunch of. So essentially what you're trying to do is just get higher level things, merge things out, just basically merge out your board evenly. Like make everything like a 2, right? Here I don't need these. I only need the one cold mage, but having 2 is fine. If I summon in another cold mage, or if something becomes a 3, I'll merge out these 2, and then that's how you just want this to flow. Merge these out. Right. Merge these out. I obviously want to get rid of this chemist, because like I said, this level 1 chemist is making this level 2 worse. Because if this level 1 hits something, the level 2 can't. The thing that you want to upgrade first is Reaper. You just want to max that out as long as whenever you get past the first level, because the first level is Puppeteer. It's just going to mana down you. Never upgrade anything if you're not the DPS deck. But that's also the other thing that I like about this version of a co-op support. All of your mana power-ups actually do matter. Your zealots are becoming stronger. Your cold mage effect is better. Your chemist is doing more doing more defense down. And your executioner is getting a higher percentage as well as doing more damage. So all of your co-op power-ups, or all of your co-op mana power-ups is good. This is a lot of executioners. I don't need a lot of them. See, now that I have this 3, I can merge out these 2 2s. That's pretty good. My zealots are also going to merge up because of the faction boost, which is also another reason why I thought to build this deck. I have this awkward 1 2 3. I have this 2 3. I have this 3 1. I have a 1 2 3. It's actually very easy to have that happen without a Harlequin, without a Mime to get rid of things. I'm gonna play a support deck right after this, and it's gonna be my main one that I normally use. Okay, so since I'm support, whenever you get cursed, do not send the curse over. It is the worst thing that you can do as a support player. Just let whatever is on it die. And you don't have, because if you send it, they will quit, or they will pitch a fit. They will eat all of their things. Bad things will happen. Don't send it over. My board does not matter. He can actually send it to me, and I will just accept it. He could totally summon in. I'm actually going to give him the thumbs up for him to summon in, because he could actually switch it with the Portal Keeper and send the whatever spawns there to me. But I guess he's not going to do it because he's a nice, amazing person. He can totally summon in. Switch it. He's not getting it. It's fine. It's something that you do as a when you start playing this game more and more. It's just a nice thing to, whenever the curse is being sent to you as a support player, you just accept the curse. You don't summon in because you don't need to. You just leave your board as is, because you don't need. If you keep summoning in and you keep letting it die, especially if my board was okay. So like, let's say my board looked like this, right? And I kept summoning in, and then I kept like using the other spot, and then you kept summoning in. I don't think that that's an efficient use of your mana if you keep allowing that spot to keep dying, especially if you had 2 spots. If you send that over and 2 of your spots were dying every single time, I don't think that's an efficient usage of your mana, and I think you should just wait. Here we go. That's pretty good. I'm gonna merge these out. I'm gonna merge these up. Ooh, maybe I want to merge this up so I can, yes, do that. So I can do that. I'm gonna merge these 2 out so that my other ones upgrade. Because then now I have Zealot set up. I'm gonna merge this in, and I was gonna say hopefully get a level 3. I'm actually just gonna sit on this. Because this setup is actually really good right now. All of my Zealots will now technically be leveling up. The Reaper, the level 3 Reaper and the level 3 Cold Mage, I'm good with. Obviously, you would want higher levels of them, but it's fine. We're at 17,000 mana, so we're dealing a reasonable amount of damage on crits, 268 on a crit. This is obviously without Gadget. That's 322 on a crit. With the Chemist, it's helping. With the mana, it's helping. And then with the Cold Mage, with the level 3 Cold Mage, you're also getting all of that extra damage as well. I'm actually able to reasonably hold my own. You don't want to use Trainer unless you have to. Unless you're like gonna die. Although they're running Trainer as well. So the one thing about Trainer, or 2 people using Trainer, you don't want to use them at the same time. So I tend to use my Trainer a little bit earlier. Some people will wait for it to get like over here and then use it. I tend to wait for it to get around here, and I'll use mine first, because I know that they won't use it that early. Those little purple death ones are obviously the Reaper, but there's another one that's like a blue one, and that's the Cold Mage. That was an Executioner kill. Obviously, because it's a boss, and the Reapers don't kill bosses. And see, the thing about this setup is that even though I am dealing some amount of damage with my Zealots, oh wow, he actually used it really early on. So which means I'm going to use it much later on, if it happens to get like around here. But for the most part, most people don't use it right there. But now I know that he will. So maybe I will be the one to use it somewhere around there. With this deck, I really don't need to do it a lot. Doing more might actually just make this worse. If you summon in a Chemist and you can't get rid of the Chemist. I think Executioner makes it better. It's really just the Chemist. You just really want the one Chemist on the board at the same time, at any one given time. I'm actually going to summon in, it's fine. See, there's there we go. I was like, I'm sure I'll get one. Oh, see, there's another one. There's another awkward one. And then you have another awkward zealot. And I say awkward zealot because now that one has the ability to level up and the other ones don't. I can't even do anything right now. I actually am incapable of doing something. So we actually have to leave it here. And this is something that happens with a support deck that doesn't have Harlequin and Mime. You'll find this more in regular decks that you run that don't have the flexibility of a Harlequin and a Mime. That your board will just get stuck like this. I can obviously merge out things, but I don't want to mess up this X setup. Because I think it's very strong, and because I think I'm killing a lot more than I should be killing. This video is already going on for an hour. I'm going to upload a part 2, and I'm going to finish out this game, and then I'm going to start a new game in the next part. So I will see you guys in that video.